Is it by accident? What message is being delivered every sunset? It never fails to happen. The message is that there is excitement as the day is approaching the night. Why is Imran spending so much time on this subject? You know now. Oh yes, you will know it now. Because if you disturb this, if you disturb this intense attraction for each other, if you build an adversarial relationship where they're competing with each other now, and they are rivals to each other, and if the night now attempts to become day, then the attraction will begin to wane. And when the day is no longer attracted to the night, the day will now mate with the day, and the night will mate with the night. And that is the destruction, the final, utter, complete, stinking destruction of society. And that's where we are now. This is why I spend so much time on the attraction. And this is why I'm so tremendously worried about that Jamaat spreading all over the world. They can even get visas to go to the moon. Washington will get them visas to go to the moon if they want to go. Which keep men and women in two separate worlds. I joined a Jamaat in Pakistan 1997, led by a formidable scholar, Dr. Israr Ahmad. Sheikh Ali Mustafa also joined that Jamaat. And I benefited a lot. As a consequence of my joining the Tanzim Islami, I was able to get the concept of the Muslim village, about the Jama'ah, the Amir, and as-sam'u wa ta'atu, listening and obeying, and enforcing the deen, iqamatul deen. And all of these are now going to be established, inshallah, when we build a Muslim village. But when I entered into that Jamaat, I found, to my amazement, because I had come from a Sufi background, I found in that Jamaat the philosophy of gender, that men and women belong to two separate worlds. And I couldn't swallow that. I couldn't tolerate it. I could not accept it. If you tamper with that intense attraction of the male and female to each other, then eventually you open a door which would culminate with the male being attracted to the male and the female being attracted to the female. And homosexuality and lesbianism will spread like wildfire. One of the biggest parades in Manhattan today, attracting about 1 million people, with all the big political figures have to be there in it. You cannot be on the who is who unless you are part of that parade. It's called the Gay and Lesbian Rights Day Parade. And in that parade they flaunt their sexual perversity and they flaunt their nakedness, dancing on the streets 90% naked. And so in order for marriage to be successful in Islam and to reach its culmination where the two hearts are bonded together, in order for the dynamics to be pursued successfully, the mechanics have to be instituted. That he, the male, has his functions, and she, the female, has her functions. Among her functions that Allah has equipped her to perform is to be the medium through which babies are born. When should she marry? We know when a man should marry, not his own sweet will. From the time he has the means to be able to maintain, Allah has placed an obligation on him to marry. But when should she marry? Well, there is no compulsion on a woman. No one can force her to marry against her will. So she can marry whenever she consents to marriage. But what advice is given to her from above? Two instances I ask our sisters to ponder over, because I know this part of the lecture is going to be controversial. Oh yes, there are going to be so many who will disagree with me. Why you want my daughter to marry? Let the girl grow up now. She's still young. Oh, okay. Let's see what message we got from above. Two events, neither of which happened by accident. In choosing the age at which a girl is advised to marry, advised, not compelled. This little girl lived in the temple all her life. And she had the chief rabbi taking care of her, Zachariah alayhi salam. Until she reached the age of puberty, which in that Mediterranean climate must be about the age of 12. And once she reached the age of puberty, she could no longer be allowed to live in the temple. And so she had to be sent back home to her mother. And so Mary went back home. Shortly after that, maybe age 13, most of all, maybe age 14, the angel appeared, Jibreel alayhi salam, and said to her, Mary, you will have a baby boy. And she said, how can I have a baby boy when no man has ever touched me? And he said, it's a thing decreed by Allah. And so Allah, in His judgment, had chosen the age when she was to become pregnant and have her first baby. She was just about 14, maximum 14, when she became pregnant. So what about this? Will let the girl grow up now? The girl only reached 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, give the girl a chance now. Oh, I see. What we're doing tonight is presenting the divine wisdom to remove or attempt to remove the brainwashing, the awesome brainwashing of this godless age. I know the questions will come after the lecture. So the divine wisdom was marriage as soon as possible after the age of puberty. That's the divine wisdom. Today's wisdom is something else. Second example. This did not happen by accident. This is a message being sent from above. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam had a dream. And in this dream, an angel came to offer something to him on a golden tray. Whatever it was on the golden tray had a silk scarf over it. And as the angel presented it, O Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, this is yours. Uncover it. And so in his dream, he took over he removed the silk covering, and guess what he saw on the tray? He saw Aisha radiallahu ta'ala. Allah had ordained that Aisha be his wife. She had not as yet reached the age of puberty when Allah took that decision. Once Allah took that decision, it means that nikah had taken place. She is his wife. He already arranged the nikah. But she remained with her parents until she reached the age of puberty. The same age at which Maryam came back home. Is the same age at which Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha went to her husband. The divine wisdom of God. The divine wisdom is that when a girl reaches the age of puberty, then at that point in time, shortly thereafter, it's the best time for her to now think of marriage. After the age of puberty. They had the law in this country up to age 14. And then they raised it to age 16. You're not permitted to marry a girl under the age of 16, is it? And they raised it again to 18? No, it's 16. Yeah. The age of consent. Before that is statutory rape. And so marry when you're young. What is the advantage of a girl marrying early rather than late? But first of all, this body for the male is a simple machine. But for a woman, it is an immensely complex machine that she has. Compared to ours, hers is tremendously complex, and she can die. And many, many women have died. My own grandmother died in the process of giving birth to a baby. So it's not a subject to be trifled with. The best time for a woman to have her first baby, to initiate the process, to bring the machine to work for the first time, is when she is young and strong. When she is in a full vigor at that time. After the first baby is born, the machine is now operating. She can have as many babies as possible. There will be no problem now, no danger, or much less danger when the first baby is be born. What's the problem if you delay? The longer you delay to have the first baby, the greater the danger, the greater the risks that you will have, including the risk of the loss of life, including the risk of the health of the baby. That's the first problem. The second problem is that even when medical science is now developed to such an extent to try to minimize the danger, in number one. Number two is, the longer you stay to have your first baby, and the more the night attempts to become day, the greater the problem of fertility. You become increasingly infertile, cannot have a baby. And when a wife can